walk you through my whole diagnostic, repair, sales, everything to do with these water heater installs. So this is a preventative approach we're taking right here. It's very rare that a customer actually takes the preventative effort, but that's the best thing you can do. My general rule is if your water heater's 10 years old or older, is replaced at your earliest convenience. So what we got here is a 50-gallon gas water heater. When I'm looking at water heaters for replacement, I'm checking to see how up to code they currently are, so I know what I got to do. So right off the bat, I see one strap, should be two, one at the top third, one at the bottom third. They don't have a little pipe off the T&P valve. You want to have a pipe within 6 inches of the ground off of this. Yeah, we got an expansion tank up here. We'll be changing that. We got the valve here. It's supposed to have copper pipe or flex the first 12 inches off the water heater. This is 3-inch venting. Code is 4. After we figured out what we got to do and everything, sold the job, all that, honestly, first thing I do is just shut the gas right off to it. The next step is going to be to find the closest drain so we can get this thing drained off. There's not really a drain right here that I can see, but we got a drain a few feet away in the next room. So we'll just run a hose to there. This Milwaukee transfer pump is awesome. It's the fastest way to drain a water heater right here. This thing will pump 8 gallons a minute. We'll get this hooked up, and then by the time we get our tools in here, we'll be ready to rock and roll. I've heard these pumps called sediment buster. So if there is a bunch of sediment in these tanks, these things really help. It'll just suck it through. We're over here looking at this drain here when we got a spare laundry hookup. A lot of times in an older home like this, you might even have problems with the drain being slow and things like that. So if you don't have to deal with the drain, find something easy like a laundry. First thing, shut the water off. There should be a valve right here. We'll shut that off, we can get it draining. We're gonna have to shut the water to the whole house off because the expansion tank is positioned above this valve. So we go take this expansion tank, it's just gonna start shooting water all out. So we'll get that shut off. And just to bleed some pressure off the whole house. So there's this bathroom right here, we'll open the faucet. Okay, so turn that valve, quarter turn. Over here. Jeez. Well, that's not draining.
The drain's not draining.
So that laundry drain didn't work. That's all backed up. But we got a drain right here. But with this pump on there, it pumps so much. We'll have to stand here and hold it or something to keep it on this drain. We'll just go ahead and throw it in a toilet or a tub, bathtub nearby. I'm gonna. That'll hold it from flipping around and we get this thing drained down quick. This thing looks new enough, it's nice and yellow. We're gonna reuse that. So we'll take this off and make sure to take out the little flex end and save that. We're gonna need that to reinstall. My expert plumbing helper was asking, what are unions? Why do we have unions? It's a mechanical connection that allows you to connect two different pipes. You hear the word electrolysis and you think, oh, you need dielectric union so you don't get electrolysis on your water heater connections. The water heaters come with a dielectric connection, if you will. They're called a waterway, and it's a galvanized nipple sleeved with plastic. That's technically a dielectric. I've been on commercial jobs where that's what they had us use for the dielectric connection. We're gonna be changing this exhaust here because this is 3-inch, code is 4-inch. The other thing though too, they only have one screw. It's supposed to be 3 screws per joint on your exhaust. Okay, so here's the new one, here's the old one. So the new ones are a little bigger due to better insulation, honestly. Keep that in mind when you're replacing them. Like this old one, I think these are about 20 inches. This is 22 inches. Today we're using the American Pro Master. One thing I like about these water heaters I'm using is they have an 8-year tank warranty. Most water heaters have a 6-year manufacturer warranty. You can get 8-year tank warranties on your American, on your A.O. Smith, and on your State, I believe. So that's what we're going to be putting in today. And yeah, it's a little bit bigger, a little better. That's what B-vent is. It's double walled, so it's got the aluminum inside with the galvanized outer shield. We only need single wall from the appliance to the main stack, if you will. I always want gloves. This stuff's sharp. Yeah. I usually just go the depth of the cut snips in about every inch. And then just bend every other one out. We got to get this in, and then we can reach in, bend these inside ones down, and we'll screw off these ones. Honey badgered our way into this one. See, there's the aluminum inner shielding, and here's the galvanized outer shielding. What you need to do is make sure you get tied into this aluminum side. Yes. Either put 3 screws or tape. When I tie into this stuff, I always screw it and tape it. Got this taped on really good. All the way around. Okay. Code in our area is 2 straps, top third, bottom third. I like to put them at about 19 and 48 off the ground. That seems to be a nice sweet spot. That one's closed. They had it sitting here, they just didn't put it on. See, there's like a long one and a shorter one. Just kind of put them whichever one you think is gonna need to be longer. In this case, we'll put the longer one at the back. So we're asked, do we not need water heater pans, catch pans anymore? Code is, it needs a water heater pan if it's going to cause damage. So that means where they're really required, if they're on a second level or in the attic or something, then yeah, you got to have a pan on this thing. So we're in the basement here. Number one, our floor drain's clear over there. Technically, it could cause some damage if it leaked. It would be getting on this floor and stuff. But with the drain clear over here, honestly, it's going to be more of a tripping hazard trying to run a pipe over to this drain. In basements, if there is a drain close by, I still will put pans on them because a lot of floors aren't sloped to the drains. So you put a pan on it and a pipe right to the drain. That way the water does get to them. I've been too many times where there's a bedroom on the back side and the carpet's just soaked because the water goes that way, not this way. It's another one where we're putting in the tank booster. This is a mixing valve, goes on the hot side. I'll show you how this goes together. Increase the tank capacity 45%. With this mixing valve, we can start Teflon taping all these threads. We're gonna need them. Pro tip, in the kit it only comes with 1 gasket, but you need 2. A normal garden hose gasket will work great. Let's put the gasket here, and this thread's on here. I'm just going to hand tight these until we get it into position, and then the gasket here goes there. These can be added anytime because basically we have 2 unions right here. So so for maintenance and if you needed to add one later, you can do it. It's easiest if you do it when you're installing a new water heater. So yeah, something like that out the back. We messed up here. We got to take this off and put our T. I forgot to add the T for our bypass there. Oh man, this is a snug fit. Oh wait, it's like exact. Oh, shoot. It'll fit. Okay, let's make sure this shuts. How much room? Okay, that's good. So now we gotta add a shutoff valve here too. Okay, we got that goes there. That's gonna probably just like that. Okay, we're still hitting here. Okay, let's just go a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, it kind of sucks because it kind of buries your shutoff valve, but it's still accessible. So we're gonna go with that. Okay. So we got that in there. Let's mark that. Let's make sure it doesn't slip down. So the thing you want to do is just kind of mark these so you know that they're in all the way. Okay, this is, man. Yeah, this is where these unions come in place right here. We can just take this off, make sure that gasket stays there. Fit that in. Just put that back on right there. That'll just turn. Okay. So we got those in. We'll have to get these all crimped up, but first thing I want to do is make sure this vent's going to work. We can always adjust these. So let's put the bonnet on. There's just some little slots that just kind of clips into it, pushes down, and that's in. There's 4 of them all the way around this thing. So if these don't go so easy, sometimes you can just do a little extra crimping on these. Make it easier for them to go in. I'm going to cut like a 10. Hang on.
That's true.
There it is. Got to hear that click. This is to make a fresh crimp on this so that it'll fit in that fitting. Let's just dry fit this to see how it's going to work. Okay, that's going to work great. I'm going to put 1 screw in a couple of those fittings and we'll pull it out.
So we know where.
And then add the more. Trying to get 3 screws on all those. That's going to be tough. Put 1 there. Okay, then we can pull this out. Yes. Plumbers are lazy. We want to make this easy.
No, so you work smart, not hard.
Okay, so that's in, that's on. Let's get our cold water bypass on. We gotta snug these up. Okay, see if we can get these. Get this one. Yeah, so see, this Pro Press is a game changer. Having to try to get up in here to solder would be a nightmare. It's just push of the button. Oop. I mean, it kind of takes the craftsmanship out of it, I will say. Let's put this expansion tank on. We can turn the water on. You can say that. I'll come to you, actually. Okay. Here's what we'll do. We'll do it right here. This little Milwaukee compressor will just pump it up right to what you need. Just like hooking up a bike tire. So what you want to do with these expansion tanks, real quick, there's an air chamber and a bladder chamber with the water. So what you want to do is pressurize the air chamber to match the house pressure. In this case, it's 65 PSI. Then just come right here, turn the pump, turn this on, and then tell it we want 65. Okay, we want 65. And okay, 65. Okay. See right now that's a little crooked, which I usually leave these a little off. So I know once I get it in, I can just tighten it a little bit more to get it perfect. There. Okay, so we'll turn the water back on to the whole house. Well, we turned the water back on to the whole house. Now I can hear that, hey, it's stabilized. I'm gonna go ahead and start filling this water heater while I'm putting these seismic straps. So first thing, pull that lever on the PRV, pressure relief valve. That's gonna provide a vent. So as this fills, right now it's kind of full of air. As it fills with water, the air has somewhere to come out, so it can fill completely with water. So it's a different jaw for PEX than copper. We'll hook this gas back up.
Then we get to get that up and running before it was on my trip.
With this being a really long gas flex, to make it easier for lighting, I'm gonna just hand tight there. We'll tighten this one up, just leave this hand tight. We'll turn this on. That'll bleed out all the air in this line, and then we'll tighten it. That'll make for faster lighting. That good and tight. So we'll turn the gas back on. Get your nose down there when you smell that gas.
We've got gas.
We've got gas. So then we'll tighten this up. Always back this up. Right here, you don't want to put extra strain on the control valve here. Okay, let's go over everything real quick. So we got the tank in, we got the tank booster on, we got our new expansion tank, we got our valve back here, we got our waters connected, we got our tank booster connected, checking all the connections on there. So everything's on, the water heater is full of water. We can verify running water on the hot side. See, we got a little bit of air. You'll get a lot more air when you have the water off to the whole house. So we got the air out. Now we can go ahead and light this water heater. And we don't want that down there in the burner area. So pull that out. This little black knob here, when that lines up with pilot, it allows you to push the button in. See, when it's over here, lined up with hot or something, you can't push it in. But when it's lined up with pilot, pushes right in. So push and hold that in. What you're doing right now is overriding the gas control, because it doesn't know that there's any heat in there. It doesn't not going to register any heat. So it's not going to let any gas go. So we're overriding that. Push that button in, hold that in about 20, 30 seconds. Then give it here's the little igniter. Yeah, and I heard it light. Now we're still holding this button in. We're waiting for this little status light to start blinking. That tells us that the control valve is registered, that there's heat in there, and that it's okay to keep sending gas because there's flame. See, there it blinked once. I usually let it blink a couple times. Okay, then I can let off the button and it'll stay blinking. If that goes off when you let it off, then you let it out too soon and it didn't register and you have to restart. Typical installation, I would turn this knob right here between A and B to 120 degrees for the tank temperature. Since we have the tank booster, I'll just turn to very hot. That way we get the benefits of having that mixing valve with our tank here. We'll just make sure we dust off the top of this water heater here so we can kind of look and identify leaks easier. We are operational. We are good to go. Most important step, sticker and date these things. This just makes it easy. Just put the date on the expansion tank. This is the TMP valve. This is a temperature and pressure relief valve. So this is designed, if the tank gets too hot or too much pressure, it relieves that pressure so the tank doesn't explode. So this one is set here at, this says it's at 150 PSI and 210 degrees Fahrenheit is where this will release. And that's why we put the pipe to within 6 inches of the ground, because if this does ever malfunction, it's got 210 degree water, and if you happen to be standing right here when if that ever happened, it could harm you. And so that's why we put the little piece of pipe on there. Is sometimes if you have maybe your water heater is only a couple years old or something, a few years old, and you see water coming out of it, that could be indicating that, honestly, usually when that happens, there's two causes for these to trip. In reality, what I see, either the expansion tank has failed, and so now it's putting more pressure on this tank, and that's relieving that pressure. So you can check these. See, this should sound hollow. That sounds full of water. Hopefully you can hear that difference. But sometimes it'll sound like this when you tap it up here. That means the bladder's failed and it's totally full of water. That can cause these to start leaking because it's just too much pressure in there. Or the other thing would be your main pressure regulator on your house is too high, so your whole house pressure is too high, is typically what I see when these start leaking and dripping water. That's just a symptom usually, not a root problem. So those are some things to check with that.